making headlines. President Dr. Moise calls on world leaders to move beyond crafting visions. The President calls upon development partners to support the Maldives in expanding its digital infrastructure. And the President met with UNSG, Antonio Guterres reiterating the Maldives' strong commitment to playing a more proactive role in the UN system.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to PSM News in English with me, Hafiz Abdul Sattar. And now the news in detail. President Dr. Mohamed Moise attends the opening segment of the Summit of the Future at the United Nations headquarters. The summit brings world leaders together to build a consensus on addressing current challenges and safeguarding the future. The two-day summit aims to accelerate progress on existing international commitments and tackle emerging challenges through the Pact for the Future, an action-oriented outcome document. The summit also seeks to create mechanisms that reflect 21st century realities, including a global digital compact and a declaration on future generations. The President delivered a statement at the plenary segment of the summit, as well as co-chaired an interactive dialogue of the summit towards a common digital future, strengthening inclusive innovation and cooperation to bridge the digital divide. The summit, running from September 20th to 23rd, aims to address the future of global cooperation. A key outcome is the expected adoption of the Pact for the Future, a consensus-driven document outlining commitments to enhance and strengthen the multilateral system for the challenges ahead. President is currently in New York to attend the 79th session on United Nations General Assembly, UNGA. President Dr. Mohamed Moise calls on world leaders to move beyond crafting visions.
Delivering the remarks at the plenary of the Summit of the Future, President Dr. Moise called for action that produces real outcomes rather than resolutions that often gather dust. Highlighting the adoption of the Antigua and Barbuda agenda for SIDS and the upcoming outcome documents from the summit, he emphasized the time has come for these visions to be realized, declaring that it is time to deliver. Furthermore, the President stated for transformation of the multilateral system from a distant, abstract entity into a dynamic force that delivers tangible results for the people it serves. In his address, President Dr. Moise outlined a bold vision for empowering youth, combating climate change, and reforming global financing systems to address the pressing challenges of today and tomorrow. In the three-point plan delivered, President Dr. Moise first underscored the importance of empowering young people, noting the youth are both shaping today's world and will lead tomorrow's. The second pillar of his speech focused on the urgent need to combat climate change, which President Dr. Moise called the greatest threat to both present and future generations. He reaffirmed the Maldives' commitment to achieving a net zero, climate-resilient future and called on all countries to honor their commitments on climate adaptation, mitigation and ocean protection.
Future generations will judge our legacy not by the processes we initiate, but by the concrete actions we take. They demand a system that delivers, a world where every challenge is met with courage, courage to halt the genocidal war in Gaza, courage to grant the state of Palestine full membership of the United Nations, courage to hold perpetrators of human rights accountable.
President Dr. Moise's third proposal centered on financing as the key to turning aspirations into reality. He called for a fairer global financial system, noting that the Maldives has experienced the imbalances firsthand. Concluding his speech, President Dr. Moise urged world leaders to act with courage in addressing global challenges, including the war in Gaza, and granting full UN membership to the state of Palestine.
President Dr. Mohamed Moise calls upon development partners to support the Maldives in expanding its digital infrastructure and strengthening institutions such as the National Center for Information Technology and the National Cybersecurity Agency. Speaking at the side event, Building a Productive Capacities in Small Island Developing States SIDS, President Moise highlighted the critical role of digital transformation in the country's economic development and protection against cyber threats.
In his speech, President Dr. Moise said collaborations of this nature will support the advancement of the digital economy and ensure that we remain protected from the increased proliferation of cyber threats. He emphasized the narrative that SIDS are inherently limited in their development prospects must be challenged. While acknowledging the structural challenges faced by SIDS, President Dr. Moise drew aspiration from success stories of other small nations that have overcome similar barriers through strategic investment in innovation, human capital and productive capacities. He remarked that outdated development thinking must be replaced with data-driven, forward-looking strategies.
Overcoming this challenge requires structural transformation, diversification of the economy, and enhanced productive capacities. The 10-year program of action for SIDS ABAS lays out an actionable plan for enhancing the productive capacities of SIDS. To ensure the successful implementation of this agenda, I call upon the international community to assist SIDS in diversifying their economies and expanding their productive capacity frameworks.
The President outlined several key areas of focus for the Maldives. He highlighted the importance of expanding the digital economy, noting that the government has prioritized investment in infrastructure and skills development. This includes ensuring universal access to high-speed internet, integrating the Maldives into the global market, and facilitating access to global payment gateways, which are critical to strengthening the digital economy. President Dr. Moise also highlighted the significance of resilient infrastructure as a key driver of economic growth. He invited UN agencies to collaborate with the Maldives in implementing targeted policy interventions that will help boost economic productivity and further diversify the country's economy. President Dr. Moise concluded his speech by emphasizing the need for SIDS to focus on economic diversification and technological advancements.
President Dr. Mohamed Moise meets with United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres, reiterating the Maldives' strong commitment to playing a more proactive role in the UN system, with a particular focus on addressing key issues affecting small island developing states, SIDS.
During the meeting, President Dr. Moise assured the Secretary General that the Maldives, as a front-line state, would continue to advocate for robust international cooperation and solutions to these pressing global concerns, acknowledging the unique challenges faced by SIDS, including climate change, sustainable development, and ocean conservation. He also briefed the Secretary General on the fiscal challenges facing the country, adding that the government is working on a fiscal reform agenda to bring down debt and fiscal conditions to a sustainable level. The President stressed the importance of support from bilateral and multilateral partners in this effort. During the meeting, United Nations Secretary General commended the Maldives for its efforts in addressing global challenges, particularly on climate change adaptation. He emphasized his full commitment to supporting the Maldives in its adaptation efforts and in tackling other pressing challenges faced by the nation. The President concluded the meeting by thanking the Secretary General by expressing his appreciation for the UN's efforts to provide opportunities for all member nations to address global concerns under the Secretary General's leadership. President is currently in New York to attend the 79th session of the United Nations General Assembly. This marks President Dr. Moise's first attendance at the UN General Assembly, coinciding with the 59th anniversary of the Maldives' membership in the United Nations. He is accompanied by a high-level delegation from the Maldives.
President Dr. Mohammad Moise extends warm congratulations to Sri Lanka's newly elected President Anurakkumara Dissanayake on his remarkable election victory. President Moise expressed his urgency to work closely with President-elect Dissanayake, emphasizing the importance of further strengthening the historic ties between the Maldives and Sri Lanka, two neighboring nations with deep-rooted connections. The Election Commission of Sri Lanka ordered a second preference count after no candidate secured over 50% of the votes needed to win the presidential election, in line with the Presidential Elections Act of 1981. Anurakkumara Dissanayake, the 55-year-old leader of the leftist Janata Vimukti Peramuna party, has been declared the winner of the election following the preference count. Speaking to media just outside the polling station after voting, Dissanayake said he believed this election to be the most important in Sri Lanka's history. Vice President Hussein Mohammad Latif and his spouse Aishat Afreen Muhammad attend the ceremony to commemorate the 94th National Day of Saudi Arabia.
At the event, which took place at Villa Nautica, Maldives, Vice President Hussein Mohammad Latif, with a deep sense of personal connection and fondness, expressed his heartfelt congratulations and best wishes to the custodian of the two holy mosques, King Salman bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud, the Crown Prince and Prime Minister, Muhammad bin Salman bin Abdul Aziz Al Saud of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and the government and citizens of Saudi Arabia. Speaking at the function, the Vice President highlighted that the close relationship between the two nations, based on common Islamic customs, has grown stronger, mainly through current initiatives to enhance mutual connections led by President Dr. Mohammad Moise. The Vice President expressed profound gratitude for the kind hospitality and generous support from Saudi Arabia through aid and logistical support for Maldivian pilgrims during the Hajj season. He also noted the success of the bilateral projects primarily through the Saudi Fund for Development. Ambassador Matrek bin Abdullah Al Ajalin Al Dosari and the embassy team were thanked for their tireless efforts in promoting Islamic solidarity as both countries collaborate. The attendees at the function also viewed a video documentary on the history of Saudi Arabia, showcasing the nation's rich cultural heritage and significant milestones.
Maldives and the World Bank hold significant talks pertaining to data sharing. The discussions were held between the Minister of Homeland Security and Technology, Ali Hassan, Minister of State for Homeland Security and Technology, Dr. Mohammad Kinanat, as well as senior delegations of the World Bank.
Following the meeting, State Minister Dr. Kinanat stated that the discussions were focused on restructuring the Digital Maldives for Adaptation, Decentralization and Diversification (DMED) project. He said that the importance of the Privacy and Personal Data Protection Bill and the Cybersecurity Bill were also emphasized during the meeting. The DMED project, valued at $10 million, is financed through World Bank assistance, with the agreement signed on July 4, 2022. The project aims to implement essential legal amendments, establish a regulatory framework for Internet and communications, and enhance the technical capacity of government authorities. This initiative aims to enhance the social and economic opportunities available. Furthermore, the Ministry of Homeland Security and Technology indicated that the project aims to introduce a digital identity system to enhance government service quality and establish a system for collecting and storing data on environmental and weather changes.
Minister of Higher Education, Labour and Skills Development, Dr. Mariam Maria, states that efforts to develop a training resort will commence within the next 2 years. The training resort is being established in collaboration with the Maldives National University, MNU.
Speaking at a press conference, Minister Dr. Maria stated that the primary objective of developing a training resort is to welcome international students to the Maldives. The minister revealed that the proposal for the resort has already been completed and efforts are ongoing to review it. She stated that investors will also be sought with a 1-year period, while the development of the training resort will officially commence within 2 years. One of the major challenges within the tourism industry of Maldives is the lack of well-educated and skilled locals to fill the senior positions of the industry. Minister of Tourism Ibrahim Faisal stated that the government aims to bring back students to fill the senior positions of the industry after providing them scholarships and in accordance with the law. To achieve this objective, the Ministry of Higher Education, Labour and Skills Development took the initiative of establishing the training resort. The latest population statistics indicates that a total of 58,089 individuals are employed in the tourism industry. Of these, only 22,337 are Maldivians, constituting to 40% of the individuals working in the industry. Meanwhile, over 35,000 foreigners are actively working in the tourism industry.
Workers striking for higher wages defied Samsung Electronics' no work, no pay order to continue protest outside the company's electronics plant in India's Tamil Nadu state on Saturday.
The company has warned its striking workers in southern India they will lose building access on Monday and not receive wages if they continue protesting, and also face the risk of termination, a company email showed, escalating a dispute between the company and its employees. Hundreds of workers have disrupted operations and protested in a makeshift tent close to Samsung's home appliances factory near the city of Chennai since September 9th. They have been demanding higher wages and recognition of a union at the plant, which contributes roughly a third of Samsung's annual India revenue of $12 billion. The Samsung strike is one of the biggest in India in recent years and has cast a shadow over Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's plan to court foreign investors to make in India and to triple electronics production to $500 billion in 6 years. Samsung last week sued the protesting union in a district court, seeking a temporary injunction to restrain sloganeering and making speeches in and around the factory. But the judge on Thursday only called for swift resolution. The Samsung plant employs roughly 1,800 workers and more than 1,000 of them have been on strike. The factory makes appliances such as refrigerators, TVs and washing machines. Another Samsung plant that makes smartphones in another state of Uttar Pradesh has had no unrest. Samsung workers are earning 25,000 rupees or $300 on average per month, according to a powerful labor group, CITU, that has helped mobilize the factory workers. They are demanding a raise of 36,000 rupees or $430 over 3 years.
State media says a blast caused by a gas leak at an Iranian coal mine has killed at least 51 people in one of the country's deadliest work accidents in years.
The number of dead workers increased to 51 in the explosion at the Tabas mine in eastern Iran, the official IRNA news agency reported, revising an earlier death toll of 30. It added that 20 other people were injured. IRNA said that the explosion occurred on September 21st when around 70 workers were present at the site in South Khorasan province. According to the report, a leak of methane gas led to the blast in 2 blocks of the mine, which is owned by private Iranian firm Madanjo. State TV broadcast footage of ambulances and helicopters arriving at Tabas to transport the injured to hospital. Online footage carried by IRNA showed bodies of some of the victims wearing their work uniform carried out of the site on mining carts. South Khorasan Governor Javad Ganath told state TV that rescue teams were working to recover the remaining bodies. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian, in remarks carried state TV before departing for the UN General Assembly in New York, offered his condolences to the families of the victims and ordered a probe into the deadly incident. Iran's Red Crescent said search and rescue operations were underway in the mine, where some workers remained trapped. According to IRNA, they were about 250 meters below the surface, cut off from rescuers by chambers that had filled up with concentrated methane gas. Last year, an explosion at a coal mine in the northern city of Damgan killed 6 people, also likely the result of methane leak, according to local media. In May 2021, 2 miners died in a collapse at the same site, local media reported at the time. A blast in 2017 killed 43 miners in Azad Shahr city in northern Iran, triggering anger toward Iranian authorities.
Cameron Smith and Riper GC won a Live Golf team title for their native Australia, not to mention bought loads of cash for themselves.
The All-Australian team of Smith, Lucas Herbert, Matt Jones and Mark Leishman edged 4 Aces GC and won the LIV Golf Team Championship on Sunday outside Dallas, bringing a close to the 3rd season of the Saudi-backed Breakaway Tour. The final round of the team championship featured 18 holes of stroke play at Meridor Golf Club in Carrollton, Texas, with every player's score combining to create their respective teams' scores. The 4 winners in Saturday's match play semi-finals qualified for the final. Herbert and Smith made hugely important birdie putts down the stretch to lift Ripper to 11 under 277 and a 3-stroke victory. Tied for second at 8 under were Dustin Johnson's 4 aces, which won the team title in the inaugural 2022 season, and the underdog Ironheads GC. Legion, playing without captain John Ram of Spain, the 2024 individual champion, placed 4th at 6 under. Ripper is the 3rd different team to win the LIV Team Championship in 3 seasons. They captured $14 million of the $50 million prize pool. There was a 3-way tie at 8 under featuring Ripper, 4 aces and Ironheads, with just a few holes for each team to finish. Herbert, atoning for triple bogey early in his round, was powering Ripper's late move with 3 straight birdies at Nos 15-17 as the team eked ahead at 9 under.
The dingling bell of a tram rattling through the streets of the Indian city of Calcutta is all it takes for Deep Das to have the happiest moment of his day. But while the fans hail the slow-moving transport system as the glory of the mega city and an integral part of how historic Calcutta grew, the 151-year-old network is under threat.
A lackadaisical attitude to maintaining the tram system has contributed to its slow decay. Deep Das is among a group of enthusiasts called the Calcutta Tram Users Association (CTUA), fighting to protect the trams. CTUA leader and retired biochemist Debashish Bhattacharya argues that city authorities risk losing a cheap transport solution with green credentials. He said that the investment required is minimum, accusing politicians of ignoring the potential economic success of the trams. He added that the life of the trams is 50 to 80 years, in contrast to 5 to 10 years for buses, and their operational running cost is minimum. He also said that trams evoke the soul of the city for many. Introduced in the sprawling eastern city in 1873 during the early days of the Imperial British Raj, trams in Kolkata were initially horse-drawn, then steam-driven. Electric-powered trams took to the streets in 1900. The tram now rumbles on the serpentine roads in the city, weaving its way through snarled traffic jams of vintage yellow taxis, trucks, buses, cars, and at times cattle. Sometimes tram infrastructure acts as poles for clotheslines with laundry flapping in the breeze. The single-story trams painted in uniform stripes of bright blue and white, with a sunshine yellow top, trundle along at around 20 kilometers per hour at best when they're not stuck in the traffic. Rides are affordable at 7 rupees or $0.08, less than a cup of tea on the street and cheaper than the bus.
And that's all we have for this hour. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a very pleasant time ahead.